Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alicia. I post new videos every Thursday, primarily on tumbler tutorials, but I do other things. So when you are done watching this video, jump back on my channel and check out some of the other cool things I've done. Alright, so change of scenery. I am on my lunch hour. It is a beautiful day. I'm taking a walk. I decided, you know what a great opportunity to do an intro using a different background. So in this week's tutorial, I am going to do a gender reveal cup. And so I tried to find these online and I really didn't see a lot. And I think probably it's because gender reveals are usually like a big deal and they're doing these big huge parties with these big huge blowouts or whatever. But what if you want something a little more subtle, right? So you don't want to do a huge party. Maybe you're doing something small and intimate and you just want to do something cute. Well, how about a gender reveal cup? So if you're interested to see my idea and what I came up with, stick around and I'm going to go ahead and get started. Alright, I'm working with a 20-ounce skinny straight. That is my favorite tumbler to work with. I am going to prep this cup by sanding it and wiping it with 91% alcohol, then spray painting it blue and pink. And after this dries, now dry times vary, it was outside, it dried pretty quick. I'm going to go in and I'm going to apply my glitter using Mod Podge. You can apply it using the epoxy method or even tack it if you choose. It's completely up to you. I just decided to use Mod Podge. And so I'm going to completely cover this one side. And then once it's done, now keep in mind Mod Podge dries quickly, so you've got to work quickly with it. And if you're trying to get like nice crisp lines because you've got that seam, it can take you a little while, so just make sure you go back over it and make sure that it is wet so that the glitter sticks to it. Alright, so now that I got the Mod Podge on, I am using Lost City to do the blue. Now, I thought that I was going to like this color, and I felt like after I put it on, I really liked the color, I just thought it was too dark. So I am going to come in when I do my second coat with a lighter color glitter. And once I get that on, I am going to just use a brush and dry brush the pink side. I do spray it with Krylon Triple Thick to seal that glitter before I come in to do my pink side. And so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to apply it with Mod Podge, and the color I am using is what I really want. Of course, I will list and link them in the description box down below. This is the perfect pink. I really like it, but the blue shimmer doesn't match, so that's another reason why I'm going to change. Like, the color is off, but then the shimmer is different, so I want it to be consistent. Now you can see I painted the pink bottom, like I spray painted the bottom pink there, but didn't do the blue half. So I'm going to show you how to fix that in the next step. And so what I do is I take the blue spray paint and I sprayed it in a cup outside, and then I went and I just hand painted the bottom on. It just, I don't know, it just didn't work out. I can't even explain why I didn't spray it when I was doing the blue side. So this works really well. Now you're going to have to soak your brush in acetone to get the paint out, because this is not acrylic paint, it is spray paint, so it's going to stick to that brush. But that's how I remedied that problem. I let it dry, and then I went in. Oh, here I am showing you that I'm using acetone to clean the brush, just as a little tip. And so now what am I doing? Okay, so now I had sprayed sealed this with Krylon Triple Thick. I gave it one coat, and I'm coming back in with my Mod Podge to apply my second coat. So I'm going right over this blue, and like I said, I am going to come in with a lighter color blue, and I will tell you the name of that in a minute. But I'm just going to do the same thing, but I'm going over glitter this time, so it's going to absorb, and you're going to use a lot more Mod Podge. But this was the best way because otherwise we would have had to tape off that pink, and I didn't want to do that. So the Mod Podge worked best in application for the second coat. And so the second coat is crushed glass. Yes, that's it, crushed glass. And so it's a lighter with a better shimmery color. So at the end, it still did darken up a little bit. So I would go with the crushed glass only and a lighter spray paint blue. But you know, everybody is different and everybody likes a different color. I mean, at the end of the day, it worked out just fine, and the color is pretty. So this was me applying the the brushed glass. I'm going to tap that off, and then I'm going to come in with my second coat on the pink side. And so I'm going to cut that out just for purposes of or no, here we go, because I did it in hyperspeed, so I don't need to cut that out. Just show you that I did the second side. And then once these coats were dry, I spray sealed again with Krylon triple thick, and then I was ready. I did one coat of Krylon triple thick. That stuff holds pretty well. And then I was ready to come in with my first coat of epoxy, which I used 40 mLs of. I had a little bit left over because this is a fine glitter, so it doesn't soak up as much of the glitter or of the epoxy, if that makes any sense. I feel like chunky glitter takes more epoxy to coat than the fine glitter. And so I'm just going to apply this nice even coats. I use a gloved hand so that I can feel for any dry spots. You can generally see it on your first coat, but I'm just so used to doing it with my hand. I just feel like it works better for me. You can use a silicone brush if you're nervous about getting epoxy even on a gloved hand. And once I am done getting this nice and coated with the epoxy, I am going to I'm going to use my kitchen torch to pop any bubbles. And then once I'm using a fast set epoxy, and so I do this on my first couple of coats because I want to get through the cup quickly instead of waiting 8 hours for my normal epoxy. And then in 2 hours, this will be ready for coat number 2, and I will use 25 mLs of epoxy for the second coat. Once that is done, I am ready to start cleaning this cup up. I'm going to clean the rim up. There's some Mod Podge up at the top. I'm using a craft knife to do this. So I do it on an angle towards the inside of the cup and get that, and then I come and I straighten the blade out for the top of the cup and get that. And then once I've gotten that, I'm going to come in with my sanding block. Well, after that, I'm going to clean it with the 91% alcohol and get all the paint and the glitter off around the rim. Then you can see how dirty that is, that I had gotten excess paint in there because I was sloppy. Then I'm going to come in, and that will also, the 91% alcohol will help loosen any epoxy in there that is kind of stubborn too. So you can do that first. You don't have to do that like second. So I'm going to come in with a coarse grit sandpaper, and I'm going to go around that top rim. I want to sand it down so there's just a hair of cup tumbler showing so that the epoxy adheres to the cup and there's no issues with lifting. I am going to sand the entire cup down. It's very fine pokies, nothing really crazy. Then I'm going to take my 91% alcohol and I'm going to clean this cup up, and it's going to be ready for the vinyl. So I cut out these vinyl lines at 8 by 8 by 0.50, half inch. And I wanted them to be thicker because I want to put baby in pink and blue going down the side. So that's why I made these thicker, and I didn't want to go with print that was any smaller than a half inch because then it gets to be a real pain in the butt, which it was, even at a half inch, was still a real pain in the butt to weed. So I wouldn't go any less than a half inch, but that's completely up to you if you wanna mess with your vinyl and struggle and probably throw out some profanities because even though I did a half inch and it was easier than doing smaller, I was still kind of annoyed with it. So yeah, I would say go half inch. I like the way it looked at half inch anyway, so you could see the baby. If it's too small, then maybe it gets lost in the sauce. So you want it to be big enough that you can see, but small enough so that it doesn't take over. And so I weeded this. I used, and I'll list and link the fonts down below because I use different fonts for baby than I did for the It's a Boy, It's a Girl. And so the It's a Boy and It's a Girl is in this font. It's a fun name too, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. I'm on my lunch hour and I'm sitting outside and it's really nice, and there is some noise in the background, so I apologize for that, but I'm kind of lost my train of thought. But I measure to make sure I get this centered, and if you notice, so It's a Girl side came out really, really nice, and I centered it exactly between the white lines. And I'm just showing you the process of peeling back this vinyl. And I have a new blade on my Cricut, and it seems to be cutting through, so some of the paper is actually getting stuck. It's kind of annoying, but I'm going to use the hinge method to apply this to the cup. and you see me measuring. I don't normally measure, but I decided this time that I'm going to measure. I usually eyeball things, but because I'm going between two side seams too, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't off too much. And so here I am applying the It's a Girl side. And you know what? I don't show you applying the It's a Boy side. And it's a good thing, because you're going to see later on that I put the apostrophe in the wrong place. I am so mad at myself. And you know what I did? I posted this in a group and they pointed it out. So after I'm done with this, I am going to show you how to fix that. So I'm going to go through this entire video and then I'm going to show you how to fix my mistake. So here I was just kind of speeding up weeding, but you see the baby and the blue, and I'm going to do it on this side. I wound up having to print this up twice, like print up 2 batches, because the print is fine, and I struggled with some weeding, and I even did reverse weeding, which I think I am showing you this. Like if you're not familiar with reverse weeding, you put the entire vinyl piece on tape and then peel back the vinyl. So you're doing it basically backwards, and it's easier when you have smaller print, but I still had some issues with doing it this way. So whatever way you find easier, good luck to you. I hate weeding teeny tiny print, but it really looks cute, so it was totally worth it. But like I said, don't go smaller than a 1/2 inch in height. All right, once I'm done applying this vinyl, I am ready for my final remarks. This cup, for the most part, is almost completely done. I just need to put 1 or 2 coats of epoxy. I'm going to put 1 coat on and hope that it covers completely, but if not, it'll be 2 coats of epoxy. So this is for simple purposes. If you want, you can do something at the bottom like a heart or something. It's completely up to you. Maybe a due date or whatever. Like, the sky's the limit, I think. So the idea here is when the mom-to-be is drinking, she's gonna reveal, there's gonna be a lid. She's gonna reveal by drinking the color of the baby's gender. And so I did put some liquid in here. I am not having a baby. I just want to point that out there. But here we go. Pink, it's a girl. Or blue, it's a boy. All right, so I am cutting in because I made a big, huge mistake, as I mentioned earlier in my video. And the apostrophe is in the wrong place. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. So this is a good opportunity to show you how to fix that mistake. So tonight, when I go home, that's what I'm going to be working on. So this video is not going to be ready for tomorrow. Now it's going to have to be pushed to Friday. So you're never even going to know that I said that on time, but I will do something in my, sorry, it's really noisy outside on my lunch hour. It was so nice that I could not come outside. So what I will do is I will just do a community post letting you know that my video is going to be on Friday instead of on Thursday. All right, so here we go. I'm going to jump on to fixing my huge mistake. All right, so first thing I want to make sure you do is wear a mask, because I'm going to use this rotary tool and 120 grit sandpaper with on speed number 2 with this tool. And I'm going to start to slowly grind away at the epoxy over top of the botched its. So this is messy. It's going to kick up a lot of dust. So you want to protect yourself. You don't want to breathe that in. So I wanted to make sure you saw that I am wearing protective gear. And this process takes a little while because I'm using super light pressure. And I'm telling you about that. And every once in a while, you're going to have to stop and wipe off to see if you're making progress. So you're going to want to just, really gently just do 1 letter at a time and the little apostrophe too, and just grind down. So there's really not much to narrate other than just letting you know that it takes a little while. I do it in layers. And then finally, when you get down past that layer of epoxy, now I only had 1 layer of epoxy on this, so it didn't take too long. You'll see that the vinyl's going to start coming up. And I'm just going to put some filler music on so that you can see the process of me doing this. And then I'm going to be back with the next step. All right, at this point, I've gotten all of it off. I'm wiping it with 91% alcohol and just making sure that it's nice and clean before I go ahead and apply my decal. So now what I did was I went ahead and I printed up my decal and I put it on. And it is really rough when you use the 120 grit and the rotary tool. It's really, so like when I put it down, I could see that it was bumpy and I wasn't happy with it. So I peeled it right up, just like you're watching me do right here. And then I grab a wet sand block. So I wet this down with water and then I began to sand. And I spent quite a bit of time sanding that spot, trying to make it smooth. And I decided after probably 5 or 10 minutes of sanding that I was afraid I was going to go through the layer of epoxy that was over the glitter, and it made me nervous. So I stopped and I went ahead and I put a layer of epoxy on. All right, so before I put that layer of epoxy on, I gave it another wipe down with 91% alcohol, and I'm using a paper coffee filter. And the reason why I'm using a coffee filter is because it does not emit lint like the paper towels do. All right, so I used a quick set epoxy. So after 2 hours, it was ready for me to put my decal on. It is nice and smooth now, so you will not see the bumps or anything like that, and this is the way it should be. So after this, I put one more coat of my regular set epoxy, and then this cup is finally done. So now I can come back with my final remarks. All right, guys, now this is really it. It's IT''S is spelled correctly, and so here I fixed my mistake and it's all good. I just need one more coat of epoxy and then that is it. So this is definitely my final remarks. I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to put another coat of epoxy and then I'll take pictures with the epoxy on it. So guys, thank you all for bearing with me. So this is like, 2 for 1. This is my idea of a gender reveal, as well as how to fix up some vinyl that you messed up. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, share, comment. I love to hear your feedback. All of those things help my channel to grow. And I just reached 5,000 subscribers, so I'm super excited. I look forward to the next 5,000 subscribers. I will see you all next time. Bye.